Right, oops. Sorry about that. I just realised my microphone was still on. Never mind. Right, let's get started, shall we? Hello. Hello, everybody. Hope you're all well. This is going to be the first time in a long time, that I've done a stream with camera and with an intent to do digital artwork, as opposed to oh right, I've got headphones twice. Why have we got headphones twice? Let's get rid of one of those. There we go. Let's bring it down a bit. It's not too loud. There we go. Right. Now I don't know if this is going to work, because in the past when I've done this, Photoshop has always frozen and not really worked very well. So we're going to give it a go, see how we'd get on. Fingers crossed and thumbs and toes all crossed, we'll get something done. If you do have a YouTube account and you want to join in chat, please feel free to log in and say hi and talk or whatever. It'd be great to hear some of your comments throughout the session today. But if you just want to sit and watch, that's fine as well. Quick little thing in case you haven't seen from the video, I have released a new t-shirt, which is, let me try and see it in camera, which is this one, my isolation t-shirt. It's probably looking backwards on your screen actually. It's released on Teespring, and it'll be in the description at the end of the stream. And yeah, it was basically a competition piece I did for the Draw with Jazza channel, called Isolation, and my piece was called One Life on Mars, and it was a representation of the Mars rover looking at the Earth, wishing it was back home with its family. So today, what we're going to do, as I said, I'm going to try and do some digital artwork, and my main goal is to try and finish off start the next process of my Rogue style redraws. The image you see on screen at the moment was a picture I did for the 2015 competition Rogue Star, where participants had to present a depiction of Draw with Jazza's Rogue Star game characters in a Star Wars epic space battle. What's the word I'm looking for here? Space battle poster. You know the sort of thing I'm talking about. You know, the Indiana Jones, the old style painted posters that used to be around. So that was kind of what the competition was all about. Excuse me. And while I was satisfied with my entry, it was one of those many pieces that I did where I didn't fully feel like I'd realised the actual what I was trying to achieve and what I was trying to accomplish. So I wanted to go back, redraw some of these, and just try and make them better. And this was one of them. And this particular one you're seeing right now is one of the first iterations of this guy, and this is the guy that I used in the competition. But one of the things you'll probably notice is around here it looks really disjointed and odd. But in all fairness, I wasn't planning to use that part in the picture anyway. I was only going to use the upper body, this part here. And so and if you look at just that, it's not so bad that just the legs weren't quite right. So I really wanted to kind of get better and redraw that particular character. Then in my last video, like one of my last streams a while ago, I redrew him to this one. Now with this particular version, this particular guy, one of the few things that I liked about this one was the face was a lot more detailed. There's a lot more going on, a lot more machinery, and it just felt a little bit more solid. But the anatomy was still a little bit lacking. I do like the leg poses, but there were certain things that I didn't really feel 100% on. But I liked the general sort of aesthetics of the head. And then the final version, which is the one I'm going to be kind of working on, is this guy. Now this one, I feel like I really hit the nail on the head with this one in terms of just the way the body is, all the detail. There's a lot of detail going on there. It feels really solid. The only thing I'm not so happy with is the legs, and I want to try and do something about that before I do any actual painting. So the first order of business really is to try and fix some of these areas. Now one thing I was considering, and this is just a thought, is to take the legs from this guy and put it on the second one. I don't know how well that'll work. It's something I've considered doing. It might work, it might be really silly, I really don't know. Because the thing is, I like the legs on this one better than I like the ones on the other. The legs on this I'm not so happy with. There's aspects I like, but I think I like the design of the legs this one better. So I think what I'm going to be doing is to mix those two different pieces together before I move forwards and do a final characteristic on this guy. So let's start by doing that. So first of all, I'm going to make a copy of this one, and I'm going to rasterize it. So hopefully it won't convert to smart object. Right, make sure my pen's work. Just thinking about it. Okay, so, and then next thing I want to do is to rasterize it, and what that does is it basically turns, I don't know if anyone knows about anything about Photoshop, but there's a couple of things Photoshop does. There's a thing called rasterize, which is basically a standard picture that you can just mess around with, change, adjust, but anything you do is lost. So if you so for example, let me just try and show you. If I erase part of that, oops. Oh, I know. That's interesting. Should have deleted something. 1 second. Why did it not? Oh, I know why. Because I'm doing the wrong one. My bad. My bad. It would help to do the right one, wouldn't it? There we go. So right, let me just restore it. So this one, right? This one is what's called a smart object. So if I try and change it and adjust it. Actually, it's not a smart object. Haha. I'll get to that. Sorry, I thought it was a smart object already. Right. So undo. 1 second. You can tell I'm not practiced at doing this this particular part live stream, but we'll work our way through it. So I'm just reconverting this one to a smart object. So 1 second. So a smart object basically keeps everything the same. So no matter whether you stretch it, skew it, turn it around, you can always revert it back, or you can always continue to mess with it. So for example, if I try and change this now, so if I shrink him, right, that's what he looks like now. Quickly zooming, the details are all still there, okay, regardless of the size. But if I restore him back, so we need to zoom back out again. But if I make him large again, all the information is still there. So nothing's changed, it keeps that all protected. But once I turn it into, and if I show you, if I try to erase it, so get my little eraser, you notice it's got that little no-go sign, meaning that you can't change anything on him. But once I rasterize it, which is taking it from being a smart object to a standard picture, I can now erase part of it, and that is completely done. I can still revert back, but if I saved it as this, that would be lost and you won't have that. So that's the difference between that. Because I've now got this, and I do have copies of this, so don't worry too much, I can now do something quite clever, which is this. Cover over the leg. I've now got a copy of that leg, and if I use the little thingy tool, I can move the leg around wherever I want it. So now I've got a copy of that, and I'll do the same with the other one, because as I say, I like these legs better. And do the same. Whoops. Now the thing you've got to remember is you've always got to do it off the original layer. So I've selected on the original layer and J. So again now, an extra leg there, so there we go. Right, okay. You know, one thing I forgot to do, I had some filters on it, so I need to go revert back a few steps, so bear with me. This is my silliness. because what I should have done was take off the drop shadow effect. So let's take off the effects. Let's delete that. There we go. Right, so now convert to object again, rasterize. Now normally when you do this, you should always save the copy. Always save a copy of it. Usually most people, digital artists tend to draw and create on their computer and don't pull the image in, but it's always good to copy the, make a copy of it. Because it's a scanned image anyway, I'm not going to stress about that too much. So I'm not going to worry too much at all on that. So that's that one copied. And then go back to the original. Copy that. So now if I remove the original, we've got these two little segments now. So one's there, one's on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to copy these two again, and I'm gonna bring this guy back. Gonna take off the effects on him as well, so that we don't have all those shadows and stuff in the background. And then I'm going to rasterize this one as well. To convert to smart object and rasterize. Here we go. Okay, now taking these other legs. So let me just see which one's which. So that's the left leg. So this one's the right leg. Might have to turn the light on very soon. I wanted to stream actually earlier on when it was really sunny, but time just got the head of me. Okay, now before I make a next adjustment on this leg, just to show you what the difference in rasterizing, if I try and make that leg larger, oops, don't want to move that. Bring it back in the middle. Right, and I confirm it. Believe it or not, that's actually lost a bit of detail. In fact, let me undo that a second. Let me show you something. So if I shrink it down, really small, commit to it, and do it, and make it large again. Can you see already that the detail's changed? It's not quite as strong. So it's always good to keep these as smart objects. So I need to make this a smart object first. So there we go. Yeah, and I wanted to do this when it was sunny, because it was a bit brighter. But you know how life can sometimes just get in the way. And even just preparing the videos to let people know that I was going live was challenging. Okay, so what I'm trying to do right here is I'm trying to make this leg big enough so it fits the body, but also position it so that it looks decent. Looks like it's more solid. I think that's good. Okay, so now I need to move the foot because the foot is a bit off. So I'm going to rasterize it again. I'm going to zoom into this foot. Oops. And now get my lasso tool. Right, now which part do I need to do? So if I take from all of that part there, I think, give me a little conversion tool, and bring that there. I think that looks good. But what I'm also going to do is I'm actually going to copy it as well, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, although it's not the right, it doesn't quite look the same, I want to replace it with this one. bring that on top. Because what I'm basically trying to do is just trying to add some adjustments on it so that it fits with the pose a bit better. Oops. That's it. Okay, so you're probably thinking now, what the heck is going on? He's got 4 legs. Well, this is where it gets fun. There's a thing called a layer mask. In fact, if I group that actually, group that, yeah, group it. Actually, no, I shouldn't. Actually, let me just put the mask on, and then I'll just. In fact, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna make a copy first, hide that one, and then put a mask on it. Because in that way, I've still got the original if I need to use it. Okay, so this is where it gets fun. So using my lasso tool again, I can remove. Whoops, not all of that. Sorry, delete that. I can remove all of the back leg in one fair swoop. Dodgy, I did that wrong. In fact, let me hide these legs a second. Let me hide these a moment. Because I actually like this bit. I want to keep that bit, but I'm going to bring that back in. If I tell you what, this top part, I actually do like. So I'm going to keep that. So get rid of that because I don't need the layer mask. And do the same again, but this time for this side. To say that's the only bit that I do like on this. Okay, so now if I go back in here, and I might as well take that off as well. Now, boom, leg's gone. It's still there, but it's just hidden. And I can do the same on this side. Let's get rid of all this. Now I want to kind of keep that hand because I'm going to use that later on. So I don't want to lose the hand. That's it. And again, boom. Oh, it didn't. Oh, I know why. Because I've got another layer that's there. Ah, right. Okay. For some reason, it didn't make a copy of this, which is interesting. Okay. So we'll copy that again and re-hide that. Hold on. What's going on here? Why is it? Sorry, something's going a bit awry, and I'm not quite sure what's happening there. That's that. Okay. Oh, I know what I did. I know. I think. What's going on? Right, let's hide that. Okay. There we go. So hide that a second. Hide that a second. Right, okay. I know what it was. When I was deleting it, I was deleting the line I just saved, so that was me being silly. Oops. Okay, so now let's bring back those other 2 legs. Oh, not him. Don't need him. Put him in there actually, out the way. Okay, so now we've got the legs and everything else, so we've got a bit more information here. Okay, so take this leg first. Now, does that leg look alright? I kind of feel that it needs to turn around a bit, so let me see if I can just bring it down a little. Trying to, I say, because I don't want to start colouring this in until I'm 100% happy with pose. Okay, I think that pose is okay. Now using the mask again, what I can now do is using a brush, which I need a solid brush. In fact, let me turn my light on because it's getting a bit dark, so give me 2 moments while I just turn my light on. Won't be saying. Okay, so now I've got this, I can remove some of the details. So I've got that legging because I want to keep that in there. I will adjust it a bit more later, but this is just to keep it so I can see what's there. Okay, and then this leg. Now I kind of feel that they still need to work on that leg a little bit, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Going to select it. And just bring it down a bit. Right, actually let me change that slightly. What I've done is I made a copy instead. These will all get blended together, but I just need to make sure that the pose and everything else is where I need it to be, because otherwise it will just look really wonky. And hopefully at the end of this you'll see where I'm going with all of this. Okay, so okay. So get my lasso tool again, but this time for the top part of the leg. And I might as well do the whole thing. Has that done it? No, it hasn't. Why is it not done it? What's going on? Okay. Just hide a few layers here a second, because I want to make sure that I'm doing the right bit. There we go. Right. So now let's bring back the torso again, wherever it's gone. There's the torso gone. There we are. Okay. So I'm actually going to get rid of that one because it's distracting. So just get all the bits. That's staying and that's staying. Right, see now I can see more clearly what needs to change. So I need to make a few adjustments on certain bits, and what I need to also do is make sure I'm naming everything. So that's the left thigh. That's the right thigh. Thigh. I'll call it knee, even though it's not really a knee. Knee. So that's right knee. Right. Thigh 2. Okay. Okay, so that is that one. So I'm going to put another mask on it. Because again, I just want this little bit here to be visible. Okay. Right, now I think what I need to do now is this bit down here. The angle is kind of wrong. Okay, that's better. Yeah, that's better. And do the same on the foot, so I can move the foot over. Okay, right. Now the only other thing I need to do is on here, on this one. Oops. Why are you doing that? Oh, I know why. Because I haven't committed it right. So on here, get my brush again. Because you've got a fist there. Oops. Want to hide some of this. Why are you not doing what I need you to do? Am I doing the wrong bit? Okay, that's interesting. It's not for some reason. Oh, I know. Being silly. There we go. It should work now. There we go. Right. That's the fist. Alright. Okay, so the last thing I think I need to do is just adjust this arm a bit. Bring that arm a little bit up because I think it's a bit too low. So... okay, I'm going to rasterize this so that I can adjust it. And we'll put call this torso. Torso. Okay. See. And shift it up a bit. And maybe even shift it out as well. Right, so already this looking a little better. Okay, so if I go back, let me just delete that. Go back to this bit and the brush. This time I'm gonna, oops, don't want to brush that. I want to unhide it. Oop. Let's bring back some of this. Bring it back. Bring that hand back in. There we go. Alright. Okay. And there's the shoe. Okay, right. Now I'm going to be really bold and I'm going to actually merge the whole lot together in one big fair swoop. Because what I'm now going to do is just add some detail on it and then merge it into one. So this way it gets a bit more technical, but I needed to do that quick fix because it was something that was bugging me for ages. Okay, so this time I'm going to use a different brush, which is a little fine liner. Make it a little bit clearer to see. and this just basically helps me to pull this together and fix anything that was missing before, anything that wasn't working before. Eventually these lines will disappear completely, but I just need to make sure that everything fits nicely. Okay, so here for example the leg needs to be restored a little bit. Okay. Same here. And what I'm doing right now is I'm just re-adding some of the detail that was missing, just to finalise this. I'm going to go over this again in a minute, but this is just to fix, just to put everything in place, because I'm going to fine tune it. Alright. Okay, so that's him. Quick save, always save it. And now we're going to have a little bit of fun with this. Use hue and saturation. I'm going to just turn him into like a blue outline. Lighten. Really light. That looks good. Yeah. And then attach that mask. Oh, you know what? You know what I did? I forgot to merge these two. Smart object and rasterize. Okay, so now I've got a little outline. So now what I can do is now I can really play with this and start making this character nice and solid. And I'll do it in individual parts as well. So this should be quite fun. Okay, so we might as well start with the head. Let's start with the very first part of the head. Let's try and make this a little thinner. Now this might seem counterintuitive to do this, and perhaps it is, but this just helps me for when I'm colouring it in later. I've got some nice solid lines to colour it. Normally I would just do it from the picture itself, but because this one had to be adjusted so many times, I need to do it this way to get it really accurate, or as accurate as I can get it. Oops. Not quite right there, but I can change that. I can erase it. Let's get his helmet. Oop. Now to be fair, this is why I don't draw digitally normally, because trying to create this digitally doing this is not the best way. It's fine once you've got the image in place, but it's not so much fun when you're what's the word I'm looking for? Do you know what? I'm wondering whether I should do this a different way. I'm wondering whether I should do this a different way. Do you know what? I'm gonna do this a different way. I'll tell you why. Because I'm gonna do it in the colours it is. So he's got a ghost grey, because then I can do it without the lines. So I'm gonna try and, this is experimental. I've not done it this way before. So I'm gonna give him a sort of a ghosty yellow-ish colour. I think what's the right colour here? You think, is that the right? think is that actually that's not bad. And I say there is a reason I'm doing this this way. Because one of the things I've been doing of the previous drawings is trying to, and I'll use a different brush as well, is I've been trying to draw these pictures without the actual outlines and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, well, you know what, it's probably better that I draw this without the outlines from the get-go. In fact, let me do one more thing. I probably should just do this straight off the bat. I will do it this way. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to do it this way. Just so that I've got less surface area to go through. So expand. I think I'll expand it by 4. No, let's expand it by 10. Expand by 10. Yeah, there we go. And then do a complete fill colour. There we go. And then rotate it. Delete. And then back to the brush. There we go. Every time I do this, I'm learning new ways of doing it. So normally when I'm doing this sort of piece, I usually have the picture down so I wouldn't say perfect, but I'm always happy enough with the body and shape that I don't have to redraw parts of it. But on this particular version, I had to redraw some parts of it, which is why I've done this. Now I'm going to colour all of the head, because what I want to do, apart from probably the visor, is I don't want to leave any parts undone. You know what I mean? Because if you leave, I've found in my experience, if you draw the picture exactly as you see it. In fact, let me lower the opacity a bit. Yeah, that's better. I found when you what's what I was looking for? I've lost my train of thought now. If I try and colour in the individual parts individually, they don't look so good. They just look that you have to make sure that the gaps are all measured to get it right. But I found that if you cover a larger space, say for example I'm going to do the whole of the head, when it comes to the individual parts, it'll be easier because you've already got that space behind it, so you don't have to worry about whether the lines are exactly in the right place. Probably not making sense. You'll see what I mean in a second anyway. What I am going to do, as I said, I'm going to be, in fact I can probably do it on this bit already, which is I'm actually going to fill this area in as well. But it will change. There we go. So get my fill tool, fill that in, and then brush. So for example, right, this middle bit here with all the technology and all those bits and pieces, that is going to be quite tricky to paint on its own. But here's the thing. If I do the whole back area, if I fill in the whole back first, I just paint these on top of that, so I don't have to paint it in between the spaces that's been left. This is a mistake I always made at school, and no one ever told me not to do it. And I always struggled to get out of that habit of doing that. But since learning digital, it's really kind of pushed me to kind of do that. So I'm doing that here. Okay, let me zoom in there a bit, because these side edges, I'm not quite getting them straight. So I want a nice smooth curve. Now I could I suppose add battle damage later, but not going to stress too much right now. There we go. Just want to get these lines nice and neat. I'm not going to worry with these lines just yet. Just get these outer lines done. You know what I should have done? Put this line work on the front, on the top. So I'm going to do that in a moment. Just need to get the helmet looking as neat and straight as I can. This is one of the advantages of actually doing digital. Is unlike any kind of artwork, you can't zoom in. Apart from the fact you can obviously cut, you know, if you make a mistake you can undo and you can go back, which you can't do on traditional work. You can zoom right in, and so if you really want to have these lines super perfect, or as perfect as you can get them, you can. But the truth is, the only people that are only really going to care whether you have are actually other artists, because they'll see it more. Because if you actually look at, like, you know, some of these classic paintings, if you really scrutinise it, they're not perfect. They look amazing at first glance, but if you really look deep, you can see where they've just put, you know, little dashes or whatever to indicate that there's people there. But it's amazing. It's amazing what these artists do to make it look like this, look like a tree, or this look like a horse or whatever, even though it might just be a few quick little lines. It's quite clever, really. Okay, so that's the ghost head. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to group this one, call it outline, and I'm going to put it on top. Paint. And the reason I'm doing this is so that, as you can see here, you can see all the detail. So even though I've got the helmet behind it, see the detail inside. So when I go into the next stages going forwards, it's all there. And I'm going to group this one and call it helmet. Okay, so that's that. So the first stage of this is just really colouring the main base of it. So we might as well carry on. I think, because this guy's mostly ghost grey, so might as well carry on with that theme going forwards. So we'll do the face next. Okay, so we'll do head. I call this head, actually, head, because there's a different segment here that's going to be slightly different colour. You know, going to be coloured slightly. In fact, I need to do the ear bit first. So let's do the ear first. Ear. So let's do the ear. So say at this stage, I mean, I don't know how long this is going to take, this particular project. It'll take as long as it takes. There's no rush, there's no competition, so I don't have to worry, you know, about getting in by a certain deadline or whatever. And I can do this on the weekends, because during the week I'm working on commission, so I have to spend my weekdays doing that. Now that might change soon, all things going the way I hope and plan, but for now, just going to stick with keeping these on the weekends, and if I do get time during the week, I'll definitely do that. Okay, so let's add this for the head. Now what I first of all need to do is just to paint around the edges, and this is so that I can do a big fill for the main part. So just the edges for now. Right, okay, oh right, that's right, we've got these little side bits, haven't we? And when I get closer to getting, you know, putting detail in, that's when I'll start refining these edges. And what I'll probably do is with some of that, I'll probably do that off stream. So once I've got this basic on there, before the next stream I'll try and refine it and adjust the space so that everything looks evenly balanced. Okay, so boom. So it's got this nice ghost grey going on. One thing also I'm trying to do as well is when I'm doing these projects, in fact I've just done that wrong, I need to leave that there, is I want to try and find a better way of doing this so that I'm not having to go back to other bits and fixing it along the way, because that's one of the things I've been doing of late is going back and fixing, oh that's not right, and fixing it after the fact instead of just getting on with it, just getting on with whatever piece I'm working at. Okay, so right now let's rotate that bit, because I feel like being a bit too eager there, because I want to keep the shape, because it's kind of like a gas mask he's got on. So these characters are I don't know if you heard me earlier on, but these characters are all created by Josiah Brooks from the YouTube channel Draw with Jazza. So these are not my, so the actual artwork I'm doing is not my personal artwork other than what I'm doing now. This is my version of his character, so you could call it fan art, but this is his, you know, these are all his designs. Okay, so I think the next bit is probably the chest piece, so let's do the chest piece. So got the helmet, in fact let me put the helmet above the head and the ear, head, yeah, that's in the right order. So we've got another group, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Ugh. Blah blah blah. How is the sound? Is everything still working fine? Yes, it looks like it is. Good. Good, good, good. And then I'm going to call this chest. It's so hot today. I tell you, London has suddenly been hit with another heat wave, and today's I mean the last few days have been hot, but today is like, oh man, it's been the hottest day yet. But that's not a complaint. Probably if I was in a hot country, I'd probably be complaining until the cows come home. But this is London. We don't normally get hot weather that often. So whenever I see the sunlight, or you know, particularly whether it's hot sun or it's warm sun with a tiny bit of breeze, I'm loving it. Because while obviously we need rain, we get so much rain in this country. It's just ridiculous. It really, really is too much. And it's a shame really, because there are countries out there that need it more, and we get the most of it, and we don't need it that much. We need it, but not as much as we get it. It's just the way things go, I suppose. I'm looking forward to seeing how this character will end up, though. You know, I mean, say it's been something I wanted to know for a while, and over the last few months, even year, the way in which I've been able to craft, manipulate, change, you know, adjust, whatever, these pieces has changed. You know, even my approach to doing certain pieces of artwork is humongously different. Right, here, where there's the arm, obviously I can't see the rest of the chest, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to imagine that it's there. And the reason for that is so that when I do put the arm in, I don't have to make sure it's exactly in the right place. So if I need to move the arm because it's not quite right, I've got that freedom to do it because the chest has been covered. So I want to make sure that I'm covered in that regard. Because sometimes, you know, these things don't look the way they should, or don't work the way they should. I mean, even like the neck there looks wrong now looking at it. I think I've made the neck just a little too high. So does that chest piece look right? No, I don't think that's quite right, that chest piece. So let me try and work out where it goes. So sorry, 1 second. This doesn't feel right, so I'm going to change that. That's not right either. Too far. So I think I was just a bit too radical on that. So I think it's going to be more like that, isn't it? I think that's a little bit more accurate. Because the shoulder's going to come out there. Okay. And again, even though there is no chest piece there, I'm going to carry that through. So I'm going to follow it through. So we've got a nice solid chest piece there. That's it, right. Oops, undo. What happened there? Okay. So let's fill in these little gaps. That's it. Smooth it out a bit. There we go. Because I've noticed that when you do use the bucket tool, for some reason, don't know why, always seem to leave a thin line around it. Now I don't know if that's maybe just something, an adjustment I need to change so that it just caters, just does it wider. I don't know. I always seem to do that. Not quite sure why. Okay. Okay, so you know what I should have done, bring in the navigator so you can see. Let me just see if I can bring another window in, because I think this would be quite handy for you to see. Window capture, navigator. There we go. If I put that up in the corner there. Lock, bring that down, and there you go. Okay, I think that's going to help because then you can see a little on the corner of your screen. You should be able to see when I'm zoomed in. You can should be able to see what I'm still doing. I hadn't considered that, so that's my fault. I should have done that. Okay. Okay. So next up will be the torso. So we'll do another group. And zoom into the torso. So he's going to look like a white ghost fairly soon, but it won't be that way for long. Now, to be fair, there's probably is quicker ways of doing this, and you know, to be fair, I'm still kind of learning my way around digital art. But the most important thing is I'm having fun doing this. So even if this is a longer wet process and there is a quicker way of doing it, it's not the same as having fun doing it. It's not about doing it quicker, it's about doing it where you enjoy it. You know, and sometimes it can be challenging sometimes. In fact, I'm being silly there, I'm being too careful. So I need to make this a solid, let's do it properly. Solid colouring, and again just going to add that line so I have a nice solid box. You know, one thing about Photoshop I love, and you know, there are definitely things that I find frustrating as well, is it does make it easier to colour things in, like big large areas, and that's one of the things that I've always, you know, found is when I what's the word I'm looking for here? If I might as well do well, get that out of the way. Yeah, fine, because I can always go over it. Is filling in large areas is such a headache. It really is. I love it when something's coloured. I like something to be fully coloured and look and rendered and stuff like that. But I've always found, particularly when I'm using pens or pencils or chalk or whatever it is, very laborious. Whereas this, I actually find it fun. This is actually enjoyable. It has its moments when it's not so much fun, but this part is, you know, it's quite satisfying when you know, when you, in the grand scheme of things. Okay. So he's starting to bulk up a bit, which is good. Okay, so I think, should we carry on, do the legs next? We'll do the legs next. But we'll do the legs in separate areas. In fact, that should be underneath really. So that's torso. Another group underneath. So we'll do, this is, oops, in the right flodder, there we are. So this would be the left leg. Let's zoom in. Oh yeah, I need a layer. Not Princess Leia, just Leia. And trying to get these straight lines is really tricky. So get these outlines there. Jump. Jump, jump, jump. Yeah, I was practicing, doing some practice work, or I think one would like to say test sheets on not Puppy Pal, what's it called, Paw Patrol. Quite tricky characters to draw, to be honest. But just you know, preparing for the a possible, you know, job opportunity that may or may not come about. Thought it's always good. It's always prudent to sort of prepare yourself and just practice things you haven't done. And you know, to be fair, you know, drawing those kind of characters isn't really my, you know, I wouldn't, putting it in the right way, I wouldn't normally go, it wouldn't be the go-to character I'd draw, But sometimes you have to, you have to be prepared to draw whatever comes your way, because it's an opportunity for for a job, which is always what you need, especially when you're an artist. You have to take opportunities, but also it's good it's good to push yourself, and good practice to do something that's different, because you may find doing one project might lead you to another project that you would never have done. Because one of the things I noticed was when I was doing this, doing this little practice, some of the characters, as I was trying to work out how they worked together and how they fitted, they came across a bit Disney-like, which is a good thing, because it shows again a growth. But they looked a bit Disney in nature, but it was kind of really good practice for that. And the more I drew these characters, which weren't something I would normally go out and draw, I was learning something all the time. And I've heard many different viewpoints on these kind of artwork. Clients, you might be somebody that is trying to work out as a professional artist, and you're taking jobs that you don't particularly like or don't particularly want to do, but you need to pay the bills, and that's fine. It's like with any job. We all do jobs that from time to time we might have to do things that we don't particularly want to do, but we have to do it because we need to pay bills. We have to do it, and even though we're artists or whatever, you still have to, we still have to we don't like everything that we do. Even sometimes our own projects, maybe we're doing it because we feel like we need to learn or grow or practice or whatever. Don't like it necessarily, but we know it's a necessary thing we have to do. But when you do things that you don't particularly want to do, you learn and grow from it. And as I said, I've heard some people saying, do what you love, and that's it. And if you're doing a project just because you need to pay the bills, don't do that just for that, because you need to be happy, which is kind of true, but at the same time it's not that true, because just because you're not happy doing a project that you don't like, a piece of artwork that is not your thing, apart from the obvious and you need to pay bills, you need to learn from every experience you do. And sometimes you have to do things that aren't necessarily in your comfort zone, but that is also how you grow. That's how you get better, and that's important. And from doing all these different projects, whether the projects I particularly like or don't like, I have learned and grown from every single one of them. Every one I have grown from, and I've learned something. And these Jazza competitions are no exception to that rule. Okay, so this is the right arm. Now I'm going to colour the whole arm, but this bit is going to be silver. But I'm going to colour the whole arm so I've got everything there. And in my head, when I was doing this arm, I was thinking RoboCop. Weirdly. But just whenever you are doing any projects, whether it's what you like or not, try not to still do the project, because at the end of the day, even when you do projects, you're also getting exposure when you do this as well. So you're building your reputation with people, but try to enjoy what you're doing. Try to find a way to make it fun and make it what you want it. Make it what you want it to be. Find the enjoyment in that project. Sorry, I've a bit just sidetracked there. Don't know if I'm making sense on that. Say for example, you like doing superheroes. Yeah, you're a big Spider-Man fan, and all you want to do is draw Spider-Man. That's all you want to do. You don't want to do anything else. And then say Marvel comes up to you and says, well, we've got enough Spider-Man, but we need someone to do Captain America. Can you do it? And you say, well, no, because I want to do Spider-Man. I don't want to do Captain America. I want to do Spider-Man. You've lost an opportunity there to show them that you're capable of drawing an epic Captain America. Now, you may not like Captain America. You may hate him, hate his guts. You may hate him to pieces. But you've been given an opportunity to draw that character, and you could miss out on an opportunity to draw your Spider-Man because you're so set on drawing one particular character. It's not what you didn't, your passion is for drawing Spider-Man. You've got to be willing to do other projects that are not something you like, just to get A, paid, and B, so you get known for what you get some kind of recognition for what your skill level is. Because one day that opportunity for Spider-Man will come. But if you've held back because you feel like, well, they asked me to do Captain America, I didn't want to do Captain America because Captain America's not my favourite hero. You potentially are missing out on the opportunity later on. But also, you drawing Captain America, you can learn something from drawing that character to implement in your version of Spider-Man. So if it does come up and say, well, actually, our Spider-Man guys have just moved on to other projects, and we've got no one really good enough to do Spider-Man, but we like the Captain America that you've been doing. We were really impressed with some of the the postures and poses that you've come up with, and we think you'd be perfect for the role. And you can use what you've learnt from doing your Captain America piece into that drawing. You'd be surprised the amount of things I've learnt. For example, I don't know if you see my main logo. I had inspiration of how to come up with the dragon ideas, and for the body, I saw a picture in a paper of a crocodile, and the way the crocodile was moving in the water in that particular image was so inspirational to me that I thought that would be a great pose and posture for my dragon. So in large part, in terms of the tail specifically, that basically was taken as a crocodile. But what I took from that crocodile was, well, crocodiles have all these different segments in their tails. If you actually look, they've got these, it's not one straight flat tail with loads of scales on it. It's segmented, and that's where the tail idea on my dragon came from. But head, this you'll probably find weird. The head was actually inspired by a giraffe. I actually was inspired by a giraffe head to do the for the dragon, and it made a difference. It really gave it a feel to it, because I think most people would draw like horse heads or something like that, and there's nothing wrong with that, but different things can have a different effect on your character. So it's about not being so narrow-minded and just really working out what you can learn from every project, even ones you don't like. I mean, I've even done the what's that guy called? The milkshake guy from McDonald's back in the day. On a window, of all things. I did. But again, I learnt from it. Drew a pirate ship not too long ago for a project. A few pirate ships actually. But each time I learnt something new, and one of the things I did was actually find some pirate ship reference, because I did a ghost ship. Found some reference for Actually, I'm not going to do that. Actually, just want to do the arm first. I actually looked up different toolship references, so I drew little things like the rig, the rigging, the little wooden post things that they use for putting the ropes for the winches, for the what do you call it? I can't think the word right now. All the pulleys and stuff like that. I wouldn't have thought of drawing that without trying different things. So it's really, really important that you don't, you're not narrow-minded in your view of what you want to draw. You've got to be to draw something. If it says I want this, draw it, but find a way to love it. And sometimes that might just be simply going away. Now I'm going to hide this torso for a second. That might be simple. Did it? Yeah. That might be simply. Not torso. Sorry, chest. There we go. That might be simply going away, right, and doing your own picture for a bit. Because even artists lose momentum sometimes. You might even be doing a project, whether it be for yourself or a client, that you might even be really excited about. Say for example, someone says, I want you to do a Star Wars piece. Now, you know me, I'm a big Star Wars fan, as a lot of people know. But, that might get asked by, Disney or whoever to do a Star Wars piece for a movie. And obviously I'm going to lap up the idea, I'm going to be excited about doing it and everything else. But there may come a point where I get like, okay, I don't want to do this piece anymore, I'm bored with it. We do. We're creative people. We like to create something new, and I know that's definitely more me. I'm more of a mind of doing, creating something new as opposed to redrawing something different. I mean, technically this is the same. I'm redrawing the same thing, but the thing is, it's a new version of what I did before, and hopefully I'm an improved version. But even with the original, I've learned something. So I don't know if anything I'm saying makes sense, and I hope it does. Hope you understand what I'm saying, and I'm not boring you. But it's something I'm learning. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you about something. I've watched a lot of streamers, a lot of video. What's it called? I don't want to say tutorials because it's not really a tutorial as such. But, like tips, advice, for, what to do, how to stream effectively, how to win an audience, and all that. As you do, if you've got anyone that's got a channel that they're trying to grow, you've probably at some point watched one of these talks where they go, yeah, you should do this and you should do this to make your channel grow, and you should do this and all this. And the advice is good. Don't get me wrong, the advice is brilliant. But one of the big advices is to keep talking. And while I kind of agree that that's probably the right thing to do, I wonder whether, it's the best advice. Because am I waffling too much? Am I just saying rubbish? Because it is really to keep talking, to keep speaking, it's actually really challenging. It's really hard to keep saying things over and over, not over and over, but just keeping conversation, especially when there's no one in chat. You know what I mean? When people aren't talking in chat, I want to keep you entertained while you're watching, for those who just want to sit and watch. But obviously, when there's people engaging in conversation, it's obviously better, because then I can talk and have a big old chinwag with you guys. But when people aren't speaking, when there's no conversation, when there's no conversation streak going on, it does make it feel like am I just waffling a load of gobbledygook and rubbish, or I'm actually saying something that's of value? Is this beneficial to people? You know? So there's a part of me that thinks I don't want to keep talking all the time. Not because I don't want to talk, but I just don't want to bore people. And that's something I worry about, that I'm just saying a lot of rubbish. So I do wonder whether I should just, going forward, just paint and let you guys just enjoy it in peace and quiet with the music playing in the background, and then speak only when someone wants to chip in and say, hi, I'm here, I'd like to talk to you, your art's good, oh, I think, oh, can you give me advice, blah 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 blah, you know what I mean? I don't know, I really don't. Maybe I'm just a bit self-conscious, because I do try to make these interesting. I do understand keeping the communication, conversation going, even when people aren't speaking. So maybe I just need to find a different way of talking, perhaps. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Actually, we'll appreciate your comments. If you think there's something I can improve in terms of how I speak, what I say, that will make this more entertaining, enjoyable for you to watch, it would be interesting to get some feedback, just so I can make these streams a bit more. I just want to make these streams a lot more interesting for you guys to watch. Definitely. Right. Now, I've done all this, but I think maybe I shouldn't have done this bit down here. Actually, no, that's right, because it's part of the arm. That's fine. I think I hadn't done that right. Now, I don't need to worry about this because it's hidden, but I'm going to do it anyway. There we go. Right. So bring back the chest bit, so we've got this full solid. So we're almost done with the body. So I'm going to hide these two bits again, only because I need to see what I'm doing for this arm. Okay, so we'll put this as a forearm, so we're going to say forearm. Forearm. Actually, forearm is one word, isn't it? Okay. Okay, I'm going to be wrapping this up fairly soon. We've been going for quite a while, and it's obviously quite late, so I don't want to spend too long on this one. But I will be coming back to it. So this time next week, I will be coming back and doing some more work on this. If I can, I will try and come back during the week and do it, but I'm not making any promises. It all depends on how my commission goes this week, because obviously I need to really, I'm doing some work for a client, and I really need to make sure that takes priority, and that's something I don't want to, take that away from them. On the weekends, it's different, because the weekends are dedicated to my own work and stuff like that, and there are times I need to stop and take breaks when the creative energy is depleted and I need to rejuvenate my batteries. But I do need to obviously prioritise any commission work. And on that note, if anyone does have any commission work that you want me to do for you, do drop me a message. Ideally, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll be able to message me directly there. Probably the best way to communicate. So if you do want any specific design work or artwork or whatever, I do sometimes do logos, but it's something I wouldn't say I'm skilled at logo design, but it's something that I have done in the past. So it's something that I'm prepared to do if that's something that you want. So do drop me a line on that. If you're watching for the first time, please feel free to click the subscribe button and so you will notified of any new new videos that are being released and coming out soon. The next official one will be not this Tuesday. Whoops, not this coming Tuesday, but the following Tuesday. I'll have to check what it is. I haven't really written it in schedule form, which is I think I need to start doing. But I do schedule it for at least one video a fortnight at the moment. I haven't got a proper schedule yet. I'm still trying to get things in place so that I can do a regular video uploads. But at the moment, the only regularity I can do is once every 2 weeks for now. But that's going to change, hopefully. And obviously, projects like this will certainly help that. I mean, what I could possibly do, maybe, is on a Tuesday night when I'm not got a video out. Maybe that's when I could do the next part of this. So perhaps that's an option. So we'll see how it goes. So perhaps I'm not promising, but I'm going to consider doing part 2 of this on Tuesday. So you're not having to wait a whole week for this. Okay. Right. So let's restore that. So now we've got our ghost body. So I've just got one last bit to do. Actually, 2 bits actually. So we'll do this bit at the back with the shoulder. So forearm, right arm. So it's just underneath the right arm. So it's in between. Call this shoulder pad. Shoulder pad. I know it's shoulder armour, but we'll call it pad. And I'm going to hide again these bits. Hide that, and the chest, just so I can see what I'm painting. Right. Going back to what I said earlier on, remember I was mentioning about not trying to draw specifically what I can see and painting through. You see, like here, we've got this laser thing right here in the middle. Now what I would normally do is I would paint all of this bit round here and leave that as a wide open gap. But then I have to make sure that this matches that gap 100%, and if I move it slightly, it's a heck of a job trying to put it back. But if instead of doing that, if I actually just paint the whole thing, so for example, I'm just doing this as an example, if I paint that whole thing, I don't have to worry about where that is because I can move it, if you see what I'm going with. And in fact, looking at this is what I should probably do with this. I should probably do this rather than the way I've been doing it. So I'm gonna select it. I should really do this because I have seen artists do this, and I don't know why I don't do this. It's a much better way of selecting these big areas. Technology's there. I should really use it. I think it's just one of the things I don't think about in that way. Okay. Now I do believe that this should be more like that. If I remember the actual design that Jazza did. It's much more that. Okay. Alright, so select a mask. I really should have done that. That could have saved me a lot of time actually. I think on reflection that could have saved me a ton of time. And let's expand it, but this time only by 2 this time. So by 2. Boom. Yeah, I should do that. That's much easier. Okay, so let's zoom in, make sure everything's all nice and smooth and sharp. But it's just not the same, it just doesn't have the same level of fun when you do that though. That's the only thing. Okay, and then that's it. What I'll probably do is, before I finish today, I'll probably give these some colouring, so you've got some kind of idea where this colour's going to go. So and that's probably what I'll do to finish it. So at least we've got something more than just a white picture. Okay, and just so we got uniform, I'm going to make that do the saber bit as well. So if I remove the shoulder pad and let me think, forearm, so right arm we'll do there. So it needs to be above the shoulder pad, I think. And I'll just call this Blade. Blade. That's one film they need to make. That's one new. I think they do need. Go away, fly. I think they do need to remake Blade. I mean, it'd be great to have Wesley Snipes back in the fold. You know, if he's not too past it, but I would love to see Blade being made. And it's a shame that the TV series didn't do well, but I think it didn't do well because the guy that played him did not feel like Blade. You know, Wesley Snipes had so much personality and character that he made Blade. He really did. And you know, he's done other things. I think that's the thing that shot him to fame the most. I know he did New Jack City and all these other films, but I think that's the film that really skyrocketed him, in my personal opinion, into the movies. Is the Blade trilogy. That character. He was Blade. He literally was Blade. There's no other person really that played him the way Wesley Snipes did. Now there's probably people that could do it now, but he just played it so well. And it's one of my favourite films. And I didn't even realise it was a vampire film when I first went to go and see it. I actually realised that, but it was such an awesome film, really awesome. Right, okay. Oops, let's bring these back. Now the only other thing I hadn't done is the wires on here, so I think since we've done everything else, I might as well do the wires just so that we got the rest of it done. So head, ear, helmet and chest, and let's paint these wires in. So do the wires underneath the head, I think. Wire, and another little thingamajiggy, and the brush, and I'll do the whole thing, even though I don't have to. I'll do the whole thing because I'm going to have to do it at some point anyway. One thing later on I do want to do though, learn to do, is do things in a painterly fashion. There's a guy called Sam Peterson, and actually Voodoo Val for that matter, on Twitch, who do painterly, a lot of it painterly, and it's amazing technique. But I am far from, well, maybe I'm not far. I'm definitely a bit of a way from having that, you know, from that level of creating these kind of paintings, these digital artworks. But they are definitely inspirations in that regard. Definitely inspirations, because the way that they come up with, especially Voodoo, because she has a certain way of painting which actually fits more with the way I do things, because a lot of people do, you know, the usual, you know, construction lines and stuff like that, and she does do it, but she does it from a lot of squiggles and scratches and stuff like that, which I think is very, I think it's sort of Picasso did, if I'm not mistaken. Whoops. Or one of those, or Michelangelo, one of those guys. I'm sure one of them used that kind of like really scratchy, not really well thought out ways of working out how to draw something or paint something, but it turns into some amazing artwork. And she has that kind of style about her. Okay. Alright. So let me bring all this stuff back. So now if I come out of it and move the big line, got this nice big solid shape. Actually, silhouette wise it looks quite alright. The silhouette does play quite well, which is really good. Don't like the blade so much, so I think I need to do some work on that. This blade feels a bit off, so get rid of that. I'm trying to make this blade look a little bit more solid. Oops. Yeah, it just doesn't feel severe enough, you know what I mean? I think I've tried to be a bit too clever with it, but it's just not feeling as impactful as it probably should. Okay, it's a bit better. Let's do a bit more work on that one, make it a bit larger. Yeah. Pretty weird on the navigator, it doesn't look quite as straight. Don't know why. Oh, drat. That's better. Okay. And we'll do it here as well. Ah, you peanut. Hold on. That's better. Alright. That looks much, much nicer. Okie dokes. Right. So I'm going to bring this outline back. And let's just give a few areas. Let me think. Oh, why is the outline oh, it is there. Just so that we've got it, look, so we've got some kind of colour. So I'm going to put another layer on top, and trying to think what's a good colour. Kind of want to give it a more deadlier colour than what it is at the moment. Kind of thinking more of a yellowy orange, something hot, I mean, of a hot nature. Maybe a bit more on the amber side. Yeah, stick with that for now. Might change the colour later. So that's that. Shoulder pad. Now I know the shoulder pad is kind of a rustic orange. Try and find a more solid orange. Try and find a middle ground here. Okay, and whoops. There we go. This is just so at least we've got some kind of colour in there. Okay. And right, so that's that. Right arm. No, I want the left arm. Where's the left arm? Oh, that's the left arm. Silly boy. Let me just change that. Left arm. Right arm. Bump, bump. That's it. Now I'm going to bring back the outline for a minute because I want to bring this metal blue-ish colour. Just to indicate the metal there. It's not the be all and end all, but just to get the idea there. And I think I should probably do that with the other arm. So wand, new layer, brush, just to get it in there. And where else? I think that's about it for now. Yeah, alright, we're going to leave it there. So I know we haven't got very massively far, and I apologise for that. I did want to do this a lot earlier, but at least we got something done. And it worked! My goodness! I was actually able to stream with Photoshop without no lag, without no slowness, without it freezing all the time. That's a miracle. So well done, Streamlabs Live. Not Streamlabs Live, OBS Live. I've tried Streamlabs OBS, I've tried Streamlabs OBS. OBS Live is the only one that seems to have, hopefully I'm not jinxing it, seems to have worked. So OBS Live, thank you for making this work. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I know I wanted to kind of go a bit longer than this, but I say because it's 10 o'clock here in London, I didn't really want to spend too much longer on this today. But we've got the ball rolling. We've managed to get this character posture a bit better, a bit more where I want it to be, and the next stage we will be putting a bit more colour on it, and I will make adjustments along the way. So there might be still some tweaks here and there as we go along, but they'll be done in different segments. But we'll refine him more and more as we go forwards. So thank you very much. Again, if you like this video and you want to see more of these live streams or any of my other videos, and some of them are adventures that I've been on, and others, majority of them will be art related videos, just click the like button and the subscribe so that you get notifications of any videos that are available. There's also a notification bell, and if you've got your settings, if you've got it set up, you'll be able to get an instant notification once I do release one of those videos. So would love to see you on board next time round. Hope you've enjoyed today, and until the next time, I'll be seeing you. Bye bye. Bye bye.